funded traders all over the world.
Wow. So most people don't have the mental resilience or the deep why behind why they're doing what they're doing.
At 18, Mark, you had no business being in those courses in the room with those people, but you still were. You were audacious. Got a wife, I've got 2 kids. I have to be audacious as well. I have to go for it.
Leveling up, scaling up to 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, and up to 7 figures in capital.
My capital goal this year is around 2 million, and that's at a conservative goal.
They now have a network that they can tap into anywhere in the world.
And that is the power of community, that people think that, right, I can do this alone on my bedroom by myself. Maybe you could, but why would you want it to take longer? Why would you not want savages like this that are in your corner, on your side, that are serious, making this a full-time reality, that you can network with as you grow and scale up?
Falcon has been here for 7 years for a reason. We're about to celebrate a 7-year anniversary. This is 7 years of growth, infrastructure, ecosystem. Where do you think we're going to be in the next 7 years?
Well, originally before that I was self-taught. The main aspect about that, it was quite lonely.
Going back to what Mark said, one thing that he's always done is he stayed very, very consistent with his character.
Everything in the mechanics is definitely applicable to the charts.
Mechanics game changer. Those symbols are clean. That's it.
Falcon is all about a lot of your self-improvements as well.
Every time I come here, I leave buzzing.
Sit back, relax, take some notes, learn from these traders. You'll thank yourself for it. Do you know what I've noticed over the last 7 years of doing this project? That the narrative of trading is consistently changing. There is not one person that has said the same message, bar myself to my knowledge, over the past 7 years. It's always chopping and changing. I'll give you an example. Before it was, clean charts is not a good idea, you need indicators, and then suddenly there's loads of clean charts and all these different concepts come about. Then it is, try and focus on the biggest amount of returns as possible, have the smallest stops, that's the way to do it. Then it's, don't worry about the small stops, that's for gamblers. You just want to focus on, a few percent a month and just try to trade as much capital as possible. There's so many other things. What I'm saying is that people are consistently chopping and changing their message. And that's not really going to build any longevity. If you're following someone and every other year there's a new way of doing something, well then the original way wasn't robust. Otherwise someone wouldn't change it. I couldn't even dream of changing it. Do I refine some things from a strategic point of view? Yeah, of course, but I wouldn't just completely change my whole outlook on what I focus on. That would imply that the very thing I was focusing on in the first place wasn't working. So I've definitely noticed that over the years. However, there's always going to be a reset, and I think people have come to realize now that, look, I need to do things in a sustainable way, which is why community is everything. You think that you're just going to go alone. This is one of the most difficult arenas you could possibly imagine, and you think you're just going to go alone and you'll be fine in your bedroom, trading, scaling up, trading millions, and do not need any support network. Have you not studied successful people? Every single one of them have a team, they have a network, they have a brotherhood, whatever you want to call it, people they can link up with that are either on the same journey as them or slightly further along than them. And that is crucial, because when you have a community, you have people that are going to push you, you'll get to levels that you just would not do by yourself. And this has been proof over the last 7 years of what we've seen in our community.
I have to do a full video explaining it in more detail for like how it actually started. But But to give you a bit of an insight, so when I was in Australia, this is what was happening. I went on that trip to Australia. I was there for 3 weeks by myself. And I was trading, going to the beach, by the coffee shop. So I was already free, if you like. And I remember sitting there every day. It was great for a week. And then after that, I was like, this is so boring. I'm here for another 2 weeks, by myself. I was like, this is just not, I've got no one really at the level that I could surround myself with. And that is just where it came from. It's like, right, I'm doing it now. There reaches a point in which that, are you going to share your success with?
So before we move further into this episode, I have an alarming stat to share with you. You'll be shocked. Nearly 37% of you that watch the channel are not subscribed. Guys, what are you playing? I'm going to come to your house, I'm going to subscribe for you. But on a serious note, we would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you're in the loop of the channel and you're supporting the channel. The more you invest into the channel, the more the channel invests back to you. So essentially, we would love that. We love the support, the comments, and we can continue making videos that actually provide value. The whole goal of the channel in the first place, in this minefield of information in the space that we're in, is to create content that's going to help you level up, sustain yourself as a trader, so you can look back in years to come knowing, right, I had the right information because this channel was continuously providing me value. So subscribe to the channel and we really appreciate it. I was thinking about this at the meetup and what the main standout point was, because we have different points. Every single meetup, as you can imagine, we've done them all over the world. Australia, Dubai, Vancouver, you name it, we have done a meetup. And there's always things that stick out to me. It was Falcon Mechanics. The clarity, unprompted. Mark Falcon Mechanics, you know what Falcon Mechanics has taught me this? Falcon Mechanics has simplified this, and I'm so pleased to hear that, because I instinctively knew that would be the case. I just needed a few months of it being out to catch up so people could, of course, apply that to the markets. And what I've realized that over the years, do you know what? I've improved drastically as a teacher. I've become so much better. I've been able to make the way that we trade more mechanical and explain it in a more mechanical approach. So I'm not surprised traders are having this like, wow, like if I just master the Falcon Mechanics and I know it like the back of my hand, I can do it. So they're getting that level of clarity that they didn't have before, and I'm extremely impressed by that. I knew it'd be the case, just needed a few months to catch up, and this is still early stages because it's a data-driven pathway. The reason why we're having so much impact and why you're hearing from a lot of the students talk about it is because this is not just, right, I've made it more mechanical. This is years and years of data of the most successful students within the community that have learned the Falcon system in this order. So I've reversed engineered it and put things in that are non-negotiables. They must be done. Get rid of all the fluff, get rid of all the things that you don't need to focus on, and a simplified, more logical, mechanical approach. So you know that you're learning in a way that once you know it, this is proven to be profitable. And it's just way more mechanical, so there's less guesswork, it's more systematic. I've, of course, developed the mechanical management side of things. That wasn't in there before in the foundation series. That's something new that I tested over a period of time. However, it's the all-in-one course, so I'm not surprised. That was a big standout to me, and I feel absolutely great about that.
Time, are you ready?
All of you. The whole group.
The whole group.
I think everything in the mechanics is definitely applicable to the charts. I think there are a lot of stuff in the foundations that you could find out yourself, but everything in the mechanics now is just precise, high level chart work. So yeah, you can apply it straight away to the charts.
Mechanics game changer, as Mark said as well, is like they simplify everything. So if you needed long time to learn the foundations, for example, the before strategy, now you need less time. You need to focus the simplicity and mostly on the psychology. So as far you fix your psychology, mechanics is very, it's, even my niece is like 3 years old. She can learn it very quick. So simple, so clean. That's it.
Falcon Mechanics, it's not only about teaching technicals. When it comes, when Falcon is all about a lot of your self-improvements as well.
I've been a Falcon member for 5 years. As a member for such a long time, I've been really privileged to see Falcon evolve over time. You know, mechanics has just really removed all the unnecessary information. I mean, I've seen the content evolve like quite a lot, and now with the mechanics, it's just really, really straightforward and to the point, and it has extremely simplified the thought processes for myself personally.
Going through mechanics though has been absolutely
It's wonderful because it's to see someone like Mark who is like a master of technical analysis. It's not an overstatement to say that. Like, he realizes that it's all built on the fundamentals, and that's the most important part. So that was my favorite realization from going through mechanics.
All right, so application of mechanics, obviously you've not traded for like 2 weeks, you've traded for a little bit of a while. Was there a extravagant difference in your trading, or was it incremental change in your trading?
A big difference. I'd say the mechanics is a lot more refined. In a market where obviously a lot of people talk about mechanical versus discretionary systems, I'd say it's mechanical and easy to follow, but obviously it allows you to use your mind a lot more, so your mind isn't clogged because you've got a simplistic process to follow.
And before we get further into this episode, if you're someone who wants to make sure that you're up to date with the financial markets, make sure you're subscribed to our free weekly newsletter, The Market Brief. You're going to have access to it every single Monday. It takes a few minutes to read, and you're always going to be ahead of the curve. When I think back to the first meetup, where was it? It was, you wasn't at the first one, was you? No. So it was at Manchester. So we had our first ever meetup at Manchester. Did I know it was going to be as big as it was today? Not so much, but I knew the vision and the mission for what we wanted to achieve was concrete. I recently posted something on my Instagram about the story behind it, and I think it's important that you all understand. At preference, look, I'm probably very similar to most of you, like introverted preference. It's not really something I would push myself out of my comfort zone to do. But I remember being in Australia, having coffees by myself on the laptop trading, and I just thought I have to do something big. Like, I really want to help people and do something well. And in that original journal, I've got it all mapped out. And I think I'll share it on maybe the 8-year anniversary. So it's a very, very special day. It hasn't really actually sunk in. So that's why I just wanted to speak from, honestly, the bottom of my heart. I appreciate every single one of you, taking the time to have the courage to actually make this happen. And we've seen so many of you grow. 2023 was probably the biggest breakthrough year that we had. At the start of the year, we knew it was going to be in Dubai. Of course, you was in Dubai. Who was in Dubai who's here at the moment, actually? Show of hands. Yeah, how was that experience? It was just such a surreal feeling. So you guys and girls, truly, you have everything you could possibly imagine. And I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but I think Falcon is the only community in this space. I truly believe that. When I look at other spaces, not that we compare, but I think it's just a group of people all learning to trade a similar system. But this is a true community. And what I mean by that, I think we sometimes just throw that away, but real community. You'll have someone who's been here for 5 years, jump on with someone who's been here for 2 weeks, and say, look, I just want to give you some help. Like, there's no financial gain, there's nothing really there, but just the culture that you all embody. So I really appreciate that. And I know that goes on behind the scenes for all of us. So thank you all much. A big round of applause. 7 years, what a journey, seriously. And I was speaking to you earlier, Matthias, about what you mentioned. I would love, do you know what? I would love for you to come up and just share something for us about one of the biggest impacts that you've had, what you mentioned to me earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's been an amazing journey so far, and obviously growing by the day. But what I was speaking to Mark about was the person that you become along the way, which you don't know when you enter this. Obviously, you have an idea and goals for what you want to achieve, where you want to go, all these things, but just enjoying the ride and becoming who you're really destined to be, it's the biggest takeaway for myself, and something that I truly treasure, because I had never envisioned that things would go the way that they have, so I'm truly grateful for that.
Yeah, thank you. So Matthias is one of our funded traders. He came to the Wealth Creation Mastermind amongst other people as well, and that was a surreal feeling. I'm going to hand you over to Ibby. Ibby's been with us for how long now? Nearly
6 years now.
6 years. We actually have the old clip of your testimonial that you gave us at the meetup.
Yeah.
And how much you've grown as well. I'd love for you to share just with the guys what your experience has been, especially for people that are new here as well.
Yeah.
And anything you want to say to them as a great day.
Well, originally before that I was self-taught, so the main aspect about that, it was quite lonely. So with this, the biggest value you get is you get that community there alongside you, which keeps you going, because when you got no one with you, you don't know whether you should keep going or not. And when you've got people going through the same experiences, it helps out a lot. That's probably the biggest take I've got from Falcon.
Going back to what Mark said, one thing that he's always done is he stayed very, very consistent with his character. I don't know what I was particularly going through in my trading at that time, but I messaged him and I said, look, I'm going through a really tough time. And he said, here's my number, speak to me and send me a message or ring me or whatever. And I rang him, he didn't pick up, so I voice noted him. And I remember you sent me 3 things to do: listen to Time by Hans Zimmer, go for a walk, and Epsom salt bath, right? Something like that. And I did that, I followed through with it. And yeah, special formula. And ever since then, we've been in communication. You know, how many times did I message you and say, oh, I'm at rock bottom? And Mark said something to me, he goes, how do you know it's rock bottom? He goes, just like the markets, a low can be broken, right? And I applied that same analogy again. And it's very true. Things got worse and worse and worse, but then my mindset changed by being around, obviously, Mark, was that, what are you going to take away from it? You know, if you put down on paper that I'm going to achieve X, Y, and Z, do you not expect to be tested to a different degree, right? And that changed my perspective completely. So it doesn't matter as well, like a lot of you will get to a position, which you will, if you commit, that you'll scale up your capital, you'll get to the position you've always desired to get to in your trading, but then you'll still have stuff to deal with. You'll still have problems to deal with. Question is, have you built the character prior to that to put yourself in a position to deal with them the correct way? Most people don't. So when you're seeing like struggle or whatever you're going through as a negative thing, the reason it's not is because when you are tested in the future, you can actually put up with that, you know, and that's the kind of person you want to obviously become in the end.
Thank you very much, Eddie. You covered so many really, really great points. That's what that genuinely makes me excited thinking about in 3 years from now, it'll be the 10-year anniversary. You know, at a 10-year point, I would expect us to hit that 100 million goal. So we've already got multiple 7 figures in capital under management on the fund. It will scale very, very quickly. It will suddenly go from this year, 20 million, and so on and so on. You guys and girls have to decide how much you want to be part of that. But I promise you, all of the resources are here. The worst thing that I would say that I've experienced to share with you guys, where someone would reach out to me, let's say 4 years after they'd been at Falcon, and it's not that Falcon's the only place to learn how to trade. Like, there's loads of ways you can trade successfully. However, it's the infrastructure and the support that we have. They'll say that, look, I was here then, you know, I'm looking to come back, etc. It's fine, no, there you go. But it was wasted 4 years trying to chase the exact same things in front of us. I do remember writing in that journal thinking, there's going to be a sacrifice. I know what comes with the territory of this. And even till now, Friday night when I go back, I'll be straight in the office. It's just like consistently 7 years in a row, right? You can't fake that passion. You either want that or you don't. And that's within me. But I know what I was willing to sacrifice. So all I would say to you guys and girls is really have that conversation with yourself. Like, do you actually know what you're willing to sacrifice? Because some of you might think, I'm doing the hours, I'm putting the work, I do the stuff, but have you done things when it's convenient or have you done things when it's inconvenient? I would honestly put it down to those 2 things. I can count thousands of scenarios where, oh, this is really inconvenient, but it needs to be done. No one's watching, no one can see it, but you have to have the integrity to yourself to get it done. I want to shine a light on something that I think is really important. We've got many students that are here today that have flown in, that were at the Wealth Creation Mastermind in Dubai that we've done, our first ever official funded traders wealth creation mastermind. Do you know what sticks out about these individuals? I'm so proud of them and what they've achieved. Their attitude. I'm not going to highlight every single person and say, look, this is the reason why he or she is successful because they have a higher IQ or they've had more experience. It's actually less about that, and it's more they just have an incredible attitude to grow and learn, and that has been the secret sauce to their development. And if more people could adopt their just level of leaving their ego at the door and going, right, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? How can I improve? They just have this incredible attitude. They're a pleasure to teach. And I can see they've rubbed off on so many other people in the community that have adopted that same attitude. So it's no coincidence why they're growing so much. So I'm very grateful and appreciative that they've come in with that mentality because it's helped so many other people in the community. Which actually reminds me of another funded trader who came to the Wealth Creation Mastermind, Tom. Me and Tom was talking at the meetup and he was explaining to me that his goals for 2024.
So we're full swing in the meetup right now. I just grabbed Tom. Tom, how are you finding the day? Talk us through how you've seen the community over the time that you've been here and what level you've got to.
I mean, like you look around and obviously you'll be able to hear the noise in the background. There's so many people here. The energy's high. So when I first joined in 2021, that was May, the community has grown even further. But it's great to see some of the same people here, newer people. And obviously this year, and it's funny because I had a lot of conversations with students and they say this is the first year where they believe like 6 figures is almost a must. It's not even, obviously we're ambitious people and we're abundant thinking, but this year for a lot of people, 6 figures is almost a target rather than a dream, if that makes sense.
What's your capital goal this year?
My capital goal this year is around 2 million, and that's at a conservative goal. That's around a 50% return, which we know 50% with our strategy isn't a ridiculous return. It's a conservative return, right? So this year it's multi-7 figures, following your advice of 7 figures on the in-house prop firm. That's the most important thing for myself, safety, security with what's going on at the moment. 6 figures personal capital for myself, again for the security, and then obviously the property fund following down the line. So that's my capital goals this year.
Honestly, mate, I'm so proud of what you've done. You've rubbed off on so many people, and I think sometimes you don't even realise yourself, right? Your attitude has shown through. And what it's done, this is the power of community. This is what I'm talking about. When you have a great attitude and other people see that, it rubs off on them. So there are now people working harder because of your work ethic, right? You should be incredibly proud of that. And that is the power of community, that people think that, right, I can do this alone on my bedroom by myself. Maybe you could, but why would you want it to take longer? Why would you not want savages like this that are in your corner, on your side, that are serious, making this a full-time reality, that you can network with as you grow and scale up? Trading's a lonely game as it is. Why would you make it lonelier?
So before we move further into this episode, I have something for you guys. For those of you that have not considered the Rewired program yet, I want you to think about the cost of inaction. What is the cost of you not taking action and learning a framework that's going to build your mind to stay calm under pressure and trade well? We've already seen it with hundreds of traders that have struggled to get to the next level in their funding. Once they've gone through the Rewired program and they've implemented the techniques and the strategies, they're calmer under pressure. And as a side effect, they're scaling up on their funding. So my question is for you guys, how much more time are you willing to wait and not realize that your own mentality, your own mindset or thought processes is actually standing in the way of your next level?
Awareness, open my awareness up completely. It's literally like unplugging myself from everyone else and almost making a protective shield around my mind from everyone else's negativity, because I was obviously in construction. So I was listening to a lot of bullshit, and I was obviously telling people about my goals, my aspirations, and they were just projecting their negativity onto me. So I literally opened my awareness up, I shut up, I didn't judge them for what they're doing. It just made me a better person. It was more positive, and that obviously affected my trading.
Yeah, so for me, I'd say the self-image part is probably one of the biggest parts, just because it gave me the awareness to really dig into my past and understand that how we're kind of programmed from young, as a child, parents, school, all that different stuff. It can cast like a shadow of doubt or limiting belief or whatever it might be on you as an individual. And I realised that actually what I'm doing is potentially a disservice, because some of the stuff that I was taught, I'm then trying to pass on, but it's not actually correct. When I really understood that, I was able to kind of quieten the noise of what I don't want, filter out the shit, and focus on the good stuff, and then just work on implementing that and growing through that. And obviously it helps shape your identity, which then helps you as an individual from a trading perspective, dad, parent, gym, health, whatever it might be.
Going through Rewired helped me in understanding those things in a structured manner and implement some of them, which they are now part of my daily routine.
You know, in Rewired, it's talking about your surroundings, so where you want to go, your discipline, everything. Like the small things, the negative things, how you talk, like how do you respond, everything like that. Rewired has changed my life. What else I can say? Nothing.
Going through Rewired, not the first time, not the second time, not the third time, but like the fourth or fifth time, when you really, really dive into it and you realize that like there is more that you can learn. Going through Flow Zone, you kind of realize that it's all connected and there is this insane power that you can tap into.
And another thing that I've noticed is that we have a lot of students that were in Falcon a while ago. Some of them, they were in Falcon 2018 and they've come back. Some of them was here a year ago and they've come back. So it's all from different units of time in the project. And the interesting thing is Falcon over the years it's changed dramatically. So for anyone that was in Falcon in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe even 2022, it's a night and day difference to the resources and refinements and things that we've done over the years. So it's always interesting to hear their feedback and how they've got so much more clarity and confidence in the infrastructure that we've built moving forward. So that was a big standout as well. And I would love for you guys to actually hear from their impact in Falcon and where they're at in their journey. So you're going to hear from some of the guys and girls.
Loads of new faces around, as you can see.
loads of new students. Like 95% of the room are brand new students. People who've been here for like either 2 weeks or a couple of years. So they're fairly new to it. And a lot of these guys have actually come in at the right time because we've got more resources than ever before. And we've got more to work with, we've got more security. And a lot of them have actually come from previous strategies where they've had, say, a poor experience of some kind, of infrastructure or whatever it might be. And they've done the whole dance of trying to figure out what the best way to trade is, which there isn't. What they've always come back to is security. And that's the most important thing in trading that you guys are seeing now with prop firms going downhill and all sorts of stuff. So they've got all of that here. And the goals that they're going to set now, having new resources, new content, is going to be like a next level. Right, we'll hit the nail on the head here. So most people, as obviously you mentioned before as well, right? The grass may be greener on the other side. Most of the time it's not. What have you learned throughout, or tell us a story as well as to what's happened and what have you learned throughout this entire time period?
So I was with Falcon for about 18 months, was getting coaching, was trying to get through to consistency, and there was, after the COVID period, there was, I think, 4 or 5 months where I wasn't seeing any returns-based progress. Maybe in hindsight, I was maybe a bit immature for leaving a bit early. Obviously 18 months in the trading industry is not enough, like you are a baby. So went to another strategy, was with them for 18 months. Then after that tried it on my own. Had a good January and February, and then results just dropped off. So I wasn't getting consistency, and then basically spent the back end of last year trying to build up that consistency, and it never come. What is the highest probability move for me to make a success of my trading? And that's going to be getting around someone who's actually gone through everything that I've been through, who's living the life that I potentially want, and him seeing me through the process. I also thought to myself that although I bet on myself, I could have probably maybe turned my strategy round and got consistent with it, but then what then? I'm now consistent, how do I scale up? I'm trying to do that on my own.
That's a key point.
Trying to do that on my own, there's another layer of it. So, and then strategy degradation as well. If it starts dropping off again, I need someone there to who's done through this and been through this before to then take me through the process.
So what are your closing words to people or advice to traders as a whole throughout your whole experience? So what's the biggest lesson you've learned overall?
If you're learning from someone who's doing it and doing what you want to do, you just got to have a bit more patience, I'd say, and stick with it, because went down other avenues and just realised from buying Rewired last year that it's all about the people that you surround yourself with and who's putting out the right message. So just stick. 4 months of negative results probably isn't enough if you're 18 months into the journey. So be more patient and stick with it.
A lot of people have asked me questions over what have I learned over the last 7 years of this project, and I actually think about it from what's actually important to me. One of the most important things to me has been loyalty. Over this last 7 years, I've learned a lot. A lot of people don't mean what they say, but I can assure you this, there are 2 individuals that do 100% mean what they say, and that is Ibi and Abdu. The coaches by my side, marching forward, they go above and beyond, they have my back through and through difficult times. They've always been the ones that have been there, and they've always been able to use their brain to think critically, think logically, and not emotionally. And it's very rare to find individuals like that also embody similar values. And I think that's why they've been such a big impact on the community and why we've seen so much success, especially over this last couple of years where we've been fully aligned in the project. It's no coincidence why we've seen so many people level up.
Stabbed me in the back that I never expected. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Because I put a lot into them, and I was like, well, look, I'm just going to keep on going. I will eventually find the right people that understand what I'm trying to do. Ibi had my back in that period from the start. Abdu as well, no matter what. It doesn't matter how many hurdles he went through. For someone who jokes about having an ego and stuff like that, he actually had no ego with wanting to fix his mistakes. He's like, look, you have the answers. Can you just look at this trade for me? I'm like, yeah, such a great attitude, such a genuine individual. So Ibi and Abdu together, it gives me a sense of power I can't explain. It's like I've got the right people that care about people. Yeah, their values are just, I know they've both got my back through and through. And that to me is actually more important than anything else.
Well, Mark, one of the things that I absolutely love about your success, and it's a trait in Ibi, it's a trait in obviously Coach Abdu as well, it's the word audacity. At 18, Mark, you had no business being in those courses in the room with those people, but you still were. You were audacious. You get it? Ibi had no business dropping out of college, but there he is. Abdu at 14 had no business starting up a business. At 14, starting up this business. You guys were just like audacious, and fortune favors the brave. We know that. And just seeing that from your backstories, that then translates and rubs off into us as well. Okay, I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids. I have to be audacious as well. I have to go for it. Nobody else is going for this dream as well. So that lesson that you guys have been, you're living the lesson for us. So I appreciate that.
No, you're very welcome. Well, for me, seeing you guys level up, and actually what Matthias was talking about earlier, he said, the person I've become, I don't recognize like my previous self. I said, you won't. And that is when you're going to realise that's way more important than the money. Because you realise in that moment, what he's actually saying is, I'm doing well, I know this account's going to get bigger, I know I'm going to make more money. It's almost like this is actually happening now. What's more exciting is that I'm a now more a sure version of myself. I'm more capable, I'm more worthy. I know I can deal with the bigger accounts. I know I can do this now. It's no longer it's possible, it's like I'm living it now. And I'm just going to get stronger. And I think it's a powerful thought to realise. How many?
For me, 3 years.
3.
But I wanted to ask you, you know my situation now, right? Obviously, I texted you in the SMB and everything, and I would like a piece of advice as well.
Sure.
I feel that I'm now in the place that I've seen profits for the first time. I became like very fearful of not losing those profits, and then just because I missed some trades, I took a step back and I took a few of unnecessary losses. But you know my character as well,
yes,
so I appreciate a piece of advice.
Of course, yeah. I would say you've got to let go of when it's going to happen for you. What gets you to 200k isn't going to be what gets you to $1 million, right? So say for example, from 0 to 200k might take you, say it took you a year for example. As soon as we scale up to 200k, you think that, oh, it's going to now take me the same time to go from 200 to 400, but it's not. So you might have just reached profitability, and for you to then, you're seeing profits for the very first time, for you to sustain those profits, you might hover at break even for 6 months, but you're still technically like in that profit territory. What I'm saying is, don't allow your mind to think that I've done it now, so therefore the profits should be rolling in, and if they're not, I'm doing something wrong. Do you see what I mean? Because otherwise you're going to overthink, because you have a time frame in your head.
Exactly. That's exactly
you cannot do that. Because what if it was 4 months of going through a bit of turbulence, and then after that you had consistency for 7 years in a row? You'd be like, oh, it wasn't important. But our mind will trick us thinking, well, you're consistent, therefore you should just always be consistent. It doesn't work that way. Don't let your mind run away with it. And actually accept consciously that you're doing it the right way this time, where before you might have done it the wrong way. Don't allow that part of yourself to go, oh, but what if he's still there? It's not, because you've done it deliberately.
So I actually invited one of our Rewired members down to the meetup as well. So shout out to Alby, become close friends with Alby over the past year or so. And it was so interesting to see his impact of being at a meetup like this and firsthand being able to feel the energy, the vibe, and just how serious the traders are and the levels that they're getting. Now, of course, someone being a Rewired member, Alby has absolutely smashed it out of the park, always going above and beyond, and someone who really knows Rewired like the back of his hand. But what was really interesting was a question that he asked me, and he was talking about things from, I'm paraphrasing here, but about what drove me to create the Falcon project in the first place, which is a really, really deep question and comes from a really authentic place.
Right, so I'm with Mark. Obviously, over the last sort of year or so, we've become, very close, become close friends. And obviously, seeing what you've built in Falcon, I wasn't at the start, at the part of the journey. Did you always believe you'd get to where you are now?
100%. Yeah, you remind me of a story, right? So on the train here, a girl from my school that I've not seen in like 15, 16 years, came up to me and says, like, hi Mark, she was in my form. And she said, you won't remember this. I don't know why she came out with this. She goes, you won't remember this, but in year 9, you said you would always be a trader. And I was like, what? Because to be honest, I forgot that. I said, you would always be a trader. She was like, you were so young that you were so assured of yourself. And really thinking about it, there's some childhood friends that are here, like Ib, were here with me today. I've always been like that. Like the nature to want to see people do well. Like even when I didn't have any money, like growing up around humble beginnings, if I'd seen my friend capable of a bit more, I would always try and like motivate them, even when I had nothing. So I think to me, it's always been within my nature. So to be able to see something that I think I've unlocked in terms of the mentality and attitude, because strategy is just one thing, but at the end of the day, you know what it's like. You've gone through the roller coasters of mindset. If you don't have it, it's not going to be there in place. So for me, the keeping on going, I was just clear on what my objective was. I don't think most people, like what you said, they want to make a bit of money. They're not actually thinking why they're doing what they're doing. I'm interested in building a massive ecosystem where people feel safe knowing that, right, they've got everything I could possibly need to make this a long-term career. And then I would be disgusted with myself if I was to only go at 60%. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I've got to go the whole way through. Otherwise I let people down, you know, it's not fair.
Every time I come here, I leave buzzing. And every person that's here, even people, I've spoken to people today that have flown in from different parts of the world, they don't know anyone. They'll come up to you, they're polite, they're friendly, and not one person today has been negative. And to have a room full of this many people, but no one's negative, is a testimony to what you've built. 1,000,000%.
Appreciate that, mate.
So, 7 years, the Falcon anniversary. How does it feel to see all of these traders here in 2024? How's it been?
Yeah, I was saying earlier in the speech, before, if you guys hadn't seen, that 95 or 96% of the room are actually new members. When I say new, I mean like a couple of years old, few years old. Whereas when I started, the students from then till now are like this much. It's like 1 or 2% left. That's not because trading's difficult. It's not because our education is poor, otherwise we wouldn't be around celebrating 7 years today. It's not because there's a deficit in resources. What it's down to is that people don't stick it out long enough. This is what we try to teach our students here, everybody here, is are you assessing, first of all, are you going about things the right way? Right? All the conversations that I've had today have been around that. Are you going around things the right way? How do you know you're moving forward in the correct way? How do you know you're failing forward in the correct way? Like, we emphasize those things a lot at Falcon. Fail forward correctly. Have a structured approach as to how you do things, so that when you do something right or you do something wrong, you know why you've done it, you know how to repeat it again. We're in Monk Month at the moment, so everyone's following a certain set discipline for the entire month, and this month is going to act as a trigger effect to catapult them into more success going into March, April, May. And I've helped them make an oath that at least by the end of this year, most of the people in this room, should be on 6 figures. And the very few that have been here a little bit longer, there's no reason why they shouldn't be trading anywhere upwards of $750,000 or $1 million as well. So again, we'll fill in again. I'm excited for the next conversation as well. And yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Guys, I really hope you enjoyed all of the behind the scenes and understanding of this 7-year anniversary special. We wanted to invite you on this special occasion to sign up to the Falcon membership for those of you that are serious about your trading and you essentially want that ecosystem. For your first month, we're going to be giving you 10% off. All the links are in the description. And a celebration for the 7-year anniversary, we would love for you to take advantage of that if this is somewhere where you truly resonate with. It's not just a strategy. Of course, in the membership, you're going to have access to the Falcon mechanics. You have access to all of the resources that you need. But as you can see from hearing from them, it's the attitude that we want. We want people with the right type of mentality and attitude that want to contribute back to the community. And as a side effect of that, of course, you're going to level up. You're going to have access to the in-house fund and everything else. And we're really focusing on building the biggest retail fund. We're already in the millions of allocation. Our goal is, of course, the 100 million over the next 3 years. And we would love to have as many motivated, switched on people to be part of that. And of course, add more value to the community. So all the links are in the description. Feel free to check them out. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. 7 years, 7 years strong. I'm telling you, the next 7 years, we are going to even higher heights.